Hi guys, so I knew I said I wouldn't make any video in this month, but actually I have a little bit of time today and I look almost decent, so I guess it is possible for me to make a video. So you're probably wondering what is this video, because yes, I'm going to talk about sex, which is not something I talk about very often. If I'm asked to talk about it, I will talk about it. Basically, I don't have any issues of talking about it, but it's not my thing. Like, I have kind of issues with it. Like, basically it's a little bit complicated and tough subject for me in a way. But anyway, I thought that actually these videos could be useful. Because as much as we live in a society in which sex is everywhere, like you can see porn so easily on the internet, at least in France, when you walk outside of your door, like if you pass by, for example, a newspaper shop or something like that, you will see girls naked in very suggestive positions, music video, movies, TV, ads. Basically, sex is everywhere, and as much as we live in this society in which it is everywhere, I don't think that we talk about it very seriously very often and enough. And when I say seriously, I don't mean like don't do it before you're married and use this type of contraception and blah blah blah. I mean seriously, like what do you think, how do you feel about it, and just letting people basically explain themselves, which I can somehow understand, because I think the first thing I want to mention and state in this video is that sex is a very personal thing and that it's actually no one's business. So if people are willing to share about it and if people are willing to listen, that's fine, but I don't think you should basically force it into anyone else, sounded kind of wrong. I sometimes receive emails actually from people who are like, most of the time this is about homosexual, like gay or lesbian people. I'm not a lesbian and I'm not gay man, obviously. But I am pretty much open-minded. I think, love knows no sex. So for me, it is not impossible to imagine myself falling in love with a girl. Sorry, this morning I have some issues with talking to. But I don't understand why people feel such a need to come out, like do coming out, for example, because it is personal. After all, I'm not saying to everyone I meet, oh, you know what, I'm straight and I do this with that person and blah 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 and blah blah blah. It's my personal life, so it is very important to replace sex in its context, because in our society it is like a bit confusing, I guess, for some people, especially for young teenagers. Sex is your thing, it's your choice, it's your personal life. You don't have to talk about it with anyone if you don't feel like so. But at the same time, if you want to talk about it, there's no need to be embarrassed or shy or ashamed, because almost everyone does it, and yeah, that's it, really, no shame. But I mean, the most important thing for me is that you mustn't feel any pressure from society. Like, I feel like we feel pressure all the time. Like, nowadays, having a very fulfilled and joyful and very intense sexual life is kind of going with having a very beautiful car and a beautiful house and being successful and stuff like that. It is kind of the same, really, but it's not true. I mean, I know some people, and I'm probably one of them, who don't like sex that much, who are not interested in it that much, it's just not their thing. And it is weird because we see it everywhere. We see it as a sign of happiness, a proof of happiness, but it's not true. I mean, for some people it can be, but for some people it just isn't, If you like sex, it's fine. I mean, there's no thing wrong with it. Like, if you're a girl and if you love sex, it doesn't mean you're an easy girl or you're a slut. And if you're a boy and you love sex, it doesn't mean you're a bastard or a jackass and that you don't like girls, basically. I mean, you like sex, that's it. And if you don't like sex, it's fine. It's also fine. It just means you don't like it. I mean, some people love chocolate and some people just don't like it. Well, most people love chocolate, but it doesn't mean you're weird because you don't like chocolate. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't feel the pressure from a boyfriend or a girlfriend, being very needy, I would say. If you don't want to do it, you just have to say no. Like, it's very simple. I can tell you from my own experience a little bit, I guess. It is much more, it's easier to say no, to take the time to really think about it. Like, do I want to do it? Do I really want to do it? It's easier to say no and then be happy for the rest of your life, than just don't not think about it, do it, and then regret it very, very much. Because it can be very traumatizing, very shocking, and sometimes it can last for a very long time. So it's really something you should think about, you know. Then you can decide either it means something to you and you want to wait for a special person or not. Then you can decide if you want to wait until you're married or if you don't care. All those things, they're just fine once you've really, really thought about it. You know, if you're sure it's your choice and if you feel completely fine, completely okay, happy, satisfied with it, just go for it then. But don't rush. Don't just pretend it's nothing, because sometimes it can be really tough afterwards. And also, another thing I would really like to, you know, say in this video is sometimes people say, oh, you should do it, don't worry, or because it's natural, or, you know, don't do that because it's not natural, your body wasn't made for that. Well, what I want to say is really natural. There's nothing natural anymore in us, basically. If you studied philosophy a little bit, you know we have almost no instinct anymore. And really, we are not really natural being anymore. We are cultural beings. Basically, everything we do is cultural. So, sex is also a thing of culture. It depends on where you live, what are your interests, what's your personality like. I mean, there are so many fetishes, so many ways to live and do sex, and you should never feel ashamed or bad because maybe what you do is not the average way to do it, or just feel it, or whatever. So if you're in a position when you feel bad about yourself because of sex, just remember that it is your choice, it's your personal life. It doesn't mean, I mean, it's just really something so small in someone's life. It doesn't mean you are only that. You're just someone who likes maybe this or who does that. And even if it's not average, and even if people don't really like it or think it's weird, first you don't have to tell about it to them, first of all. I mean, it's also respecting people, not, you know, push your personal life on them. And then, well, it's nobody's business, so you don't have to be afraid, you don't have to be ashamed, because really nothing is natural anymore, and nothing then is not natural. I guess it makes sense, right? So yeah, that's really what I wanted to say. Because I did receive some messages in the past about, like I said, gay or lesbian people. Also from people where, like, I don't want to have sex with my boyfriend, but he really thinks that if I love him, I have to have sex with him. This is the most silly thing I've ever heard. This is complete bullshit. So don't ever, you know, give into that, because it's really not true. And it's just gonna make you sad afterwards. And also for boys, because we always talk about girls in that kind of videos, but I feel like boys have a lot of pressure too. Like my ex-roommate, when he got his second girlfriend, he was very worried because she has had a lot of experience. And I don't mean she's a slut by that, but she's had a lot of experience, and he did not. Like, he only had one girlfriend before, and he was like, oh, I'm so scared because she knows a lot of things basically, and I don't, and I'm scared I'm gonna be bad, or, you know. Well, boys, just relax. Like, you know, sex is something about two people, two persons, so it's not one that does all the work and the other one's just lying down and, you know, receiving things, basically. So, yeah, also for boys, maybe if you're watching this video, I don't know if the really boys are gonna watch this video, but if you're a boy and if you're kind of worried because you're still a virgin and you want to, you know, you have pressure because you feel like you're the boy, you have to be so good at it and like it so much and be proud and blah blah blah, just relax. I mean, girls are not mean and then won't eat you if you do something a little bit weird or wrong, or, you know, just funny at the beginning. It's really something personal. People are very accepting about it. I think no one's gonna, you know, judge you for what you've done or what you haven't done, and everyone has that the first time. And, you know, it's like doing bicycle basically. Sometimes, you know, you fall, but that is just fine. No one's, it's no big deal really. And yeah, I mean, I hope this video was a tiny little bit useful. It was kind of all over the place, but I just well, I think I said what I really think about sex lightly, like in the big scheme, you know, but I think this are important things that we don't really talk about very often. So if you want to see more videos like that from me, just feel free to ask me. I can talk about pretty much anything, I guess. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.